everyone, it's Jennifer from Flux. In this video, we are going to learn how to crochet the Summer Picnic Wine Tote. This is a cute little bag. You can slip a bottle of wine in either to give as a gift, or if you're toting something around like a picnic, for example, like the name of this. This is done in kind of like really squishy cotton t-shirt yarn so that it will protect your bottle. It's nice and thick, so if you pack it up somewhere, it will protect the glass bottle from cracking, etc. So this bag also has a fun color block effect. It looks very summery and fun. We're going to learn how to create a base for our bag, and then we're going to learn how to create this nice little ridge along the bottom so that it sits really nice on a surface and can stand up. And then we're going to work upward and create our sides. If you like the color block effect like this, I'll show you how to change colors. And then when we get up to the top, I'm going to show you how to put some cute little handles on here so you can tote it around. Now again, this makes a great gift to accompany a bottle of wine if you like to give wine as a gift. Or it is offers a lot of thick, squishy protection for your glass bottle as well. So let's get started. For this project, you'll need a pair of scissors, a tapestry needle, a ruler or tape measure is super helpful so you can measure both the width of the base as you create it and the height. Alternatively, if you have the bottle of wine you'll use, or they're pretty much standard, the regular size bottle, you can also have one of those on hand like I do to sort of set it down and see how it fits, and as you work up the sides to see if the height is what you want it to be too. So either one would be perfectly fine. We're going to be using a 10mm P crochet hook. This is my Furl Streamline. I'll put the link down below if you'd like to get one for yourself. And the yarn that we'll be using, I have this lovely t-shirt yarn. I picked two colors to give it like a fun color block effect. This is called Hooked Ribbon XL. I believe I got this from Joann Fabrics. I will put the link down below for this yarn so you can get some if you want. This is a super bulky yarn. It doesn't have that on the label, but I went to the Ravelry yarn database and I looked it up, and it does classify it as a super bulky 6. So try experimenting if you don't have this yarn with a super bulky 6 and your 10mm P crochet hook. You can work up a few stitches and see how you like it. This is has like a jersey t-shirt feel. It's like woven, and I picked, this is called Crazy Plum, and then this color is called Happy Mint. It does come in dye lots, just as a side note, and then each ball of this is 131 yards. And this one is the same, 131 yards. They do recommend a 10 to 12mm hook, so you can experiment with yarns and hooks if you like as well. But we're going to begin the bottom in one color, and as we work about halfway up, we'll switch colors and do the top part as well. Okay, we're going to begin by making like a disc for the base of our little tote, okay? So I was able to find the center pull. If not, you can pull it from the outside, but if you can kind of dig it out, I happen to see the little like fringy edges on there and just easily pulled it out. So what we're gonna do first is get a little bit of yarn here, pull some out, and then what we're gonna do is put a slip knot on our hook. So I have my wine bottle over here just as a reference, so when we make our circle, we're going to just set it right on there and make sure it fits. So let me zoom way in and get it all set up so you can see up close. All right, so we're going to begin by putting a slip knot on our hook. Wrap the yarn around your fingers to make a loop, bring the yarn behind the loop, reach in with your hook, bring up a loop, and tighten. Just like that. Next, we're going to chain 4, and I'm going to put my yarn over here, I think. There we go. Okay, we're going to chain 4. So to make a chain, wrap the yarn around the hook and bring it through the loop. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we're going to create a ring to work our stitches into. So go down to that first chain that you made, and we're going to put a slip knot, or a slip stitch rather, in that chain farthest from the hook. So insert the hook in that chain, bring up a loop. Now you're going to bring that loop through the loop that's already on your hook, just like that, okay? And now we have our little ring. If you prefer to work the magic ring to start this project, feel free to do that. I know some of you like the magic ring best. All right, so next what we're going to do is we're going to chain 3. So to make a chain, once again, wrap the yarn around the hook, bring it through the loop. That's 1, 2, 3. And as you can see, just those 3 chains is going to give us a lot of height. So it's a really quick project to stitch up. And then we're going to work 11 double crochets into the center of the ring. So this counts as one of our double crochets. So when we're done making our wheel, it'll have 12 spokes on it all together. All right, so to make a double crochet, wrap the yarn around the hook, insert it into the center of the ring, bring up a loop, wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the first 2 loops, wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the last 2 loops on your hook. So that was 1. And then see how I kind of push things over? We're going to work a lot of stitches in here, so if you need to slide things around, that's totally fine. So 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to pull some more yarn out of here, sliding things over, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So if you notice, I'm going nice and slow. Sometimes this ribbon yarn, it sort of folds in half and it can sort of catch on your hook. So just take your time, no rush. Okay, so before I continue, I like to just double check my stitch count because we're going to be building everything off of this. So here are my chain 3 at the beginning. And then we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Okay, so we have just the right number of stitches. And then we're going to go back to that chain 3 where we began the round. And at the topmost chain, we're going to join with a slip stitch to close. So insert the hook, bring up a loop. Now bring that loop through the loop already on your hook. And now we have our little base that will begin. Now, obviously, it's a little too narrow for our wine bottle. So we're going to keep going. Now, what I like to do is this tail that we held along the edges we worked, give that a nice tug now at this time and snip, just so it's out of the way. And then we're going to continue. We're going to work another round. So what we're going to do is chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And then in that same stitch, so go down to the base of that chain 3 you just did and work a double crochet into that stitch right at the base of your chain. Okay, and then we're just going to go around our circle and work 2 double crochets in each stitch all the way around. We're going to do a few together, but what that's going to do is expand our circle. Okay, so let's work in that first stitch you come to, work 2 double crochet. So 1 and 2, just like that. Hop over to the next stitch and work 2 double crochet. 1 and 2. Next stitch, same thing, 2 double crochet. 1 and 2. Okay, so what we're going to do is just keep doing this all the way around. I'm going to continue, and then when we rejoin, we're going to finish up this round and take another little measurement on our wine bottle to see if we're there yet. Just working that very last stitch of our round, we came all the way around, working 2 double crochets in each chain. And then once again, we're going to count that chain 3 that we did at the beginning of the round. We're going to count that 3rd chain up and join with a slip stitch to close the round. Okay, So let's lay our little circle down because I think we're getting close here to our base. So just kind of tidy it up, straighten it up a little bit, and then I think we are in great shape. We can start working upward. So we achieved that in just 2 rounds. If you are using different yarn, you can put a repeat round 2 that we just did. You can just do another round if you wish. Okay, so when I do baskets and things where I need it to, so this is actually going to lay like this, and we're going to work upward now. So we're going to start putting sides in our piece. So when I do that, I like to, instead of just working upward with regular stitches, I like to give it a little bit of an edge so it sits nice and flat on the table. So what we're going to do is we're going to put some back post double crochets in our piece, and that will give it a little ridge and it look very nice and almost with like a, I would say like a more structured look. Okay, for round 3, what we're going to do is chain 3. 1, 2, 3. If it's a little snug, that's okay. This t-shirt yarn is kind of grippy sometimes. Then we're going to work a back post double crochet in each stitch all the way around. So each one of these posts here, we're going to be working around them. So to make a back post double crochet, wrap the yarn around the hook, come in from the back of your work, go over top that post, like that, back down, wrap yarn around hook, bring it back through the way you came. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. Wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the first 2 loops, wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the last 2 loops, just like that. And you can see we have a little ridge here. Let's work a few more, and then you'll start to see how we're gonna have a nice little edge on our piece. Okay, so work a back post double crochet in each stitch all the way around your work. Okay, so back post double crochet, just like that. Okay, I'm going to continue around, and so you can see our little ridge is forming, and it'll give us a nice sturdy base. All right, I'm just working that last back post double crochet up the round, just like that. And now we're back to our chain 3 where we started. So just go once again 3 chains up, might need to wiggle it a little bit, and join to close the round with a slip stitch, just like that. Okay, so I'm just going to move the hook out of the way for a minute. We have a nice little, this makes like a little tray for it to sit in. So let's grab our bottle and see how nicely that fits in there. I just love it, and that lovely edge, it's just perfect. So what we want to do now is start building up the sides. I'm going to stick with the green, and again, we can use our bottle as a guideline, but I'm going to stick with the green yarn here until we're about halfway up, and then we'll switch to the purpley yarn for the rest of the project. So let's stick with the green for now. Now, of course, you can make yours stripy or however you want. You could do more color blocking than I'm doing, but I'm going to do like a 2-tone color block. Okay, so for the rest of the sides, until we get up to the handles, what we're going to do is work half double crochets. That's going to give us a nice kind of solid, sturdy fabric for our piece. So all we want to do for the rest of the sides, and we'll rejoin when we get to the color change, but for right now, let's chain 2, 1, 2, and then we're going to work a half double crochet in each stitch all the way around. So to make a half double crochet, wrap yarn around hook, insert it into that stitch that you come to, that first stitch. See, before we worked it at the base of our round, but we're going to hop over to the next one because that chain 2 counts as a half double. So hop over to this next one here, okay? So, whoops, let me back up so I can show you how to do the stitch. Wrap yarn around hook, insert it into that stitch we talked about, bring up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on the hook, wrap yarn around hook, bring it through all 3 loops. You might need to help it out a little bit. And that's it. Okay, let's do a few more together, and then we'll finish the rest of the round on our own. Wrap yarn around hook, insert it into the next stitch. Bring up a loop, yarn around hook, bring it through all 3 loops. And we're just going to do this all the way around. just like that, okay? So go ahead and work a half double crochet in each stitch all the way around, and then when we get back, I'll show you how to finish this round and to continue with the sides of your piece. All right, coming up to that last stitch, just working that last half double crochet, and then we're going to count 2 chains up this time because our starting chain was 2 chains, and we're going to join with a slip stitch to close the round once again. And then we're just going to repeat this round over and over until it goes about halfway up our bottle. So we're going to keep going to about halfway up our bottle. And then when we reach that point, we will rejoin. I'm going to grab my next color. I'm going to show you how to join a new color on, and we're going to give it a nice color block effect. So keep going with your half double crochet round, and we'll rejoin in just a moment. All right, just coming up to the end of the round, I'm going to join in that topmost chain with a slip stitch like we've done for every round. And our green part is complete, and it looks great. It's nice and sturdy too because the yarn is so thick. Now we're going to keep going. I'm just going to change colors and show you how to do it. We're going to do the same stitches, same rounds, but just as a side note, I just want to give you some dimensions while we're here. I worked upwards from the bottom to the top edge is about 6.5 inches. And then I just wanted to show you too, across the bottom, we're at about 4.5 inches, okay? So again, we're going to continue with our half double crochets, but I'm just going to show you, we're going to switch to the purple. So I have that ready. So all you need to do, all you need to do is cut the yarn. And I used, again, my wine bottle as a reference. So I just kept slipping it in there and working a few more rounds, slipping it in there. So mine is about, because I want to do like a half and half color block, mine is about halfway up the bottle, okay? So I cut the yarn, just wrap it around the hook and bring it through the loop. And then you might get a little bit of crumbs, but that's okay. Just because it's like that t-shirt yarn material, it might have a little like jersey crumbs there. So just grab your hook, and then we're going to grab the new yarn, and we're going to put our hook back into that same stitch, hook the new yarn on, and bring it through that same stitch. And then all we're going to do is just tie it right on. Now, if you have a way that you like to join yarn that you prefer, please feel free to do that. And then see these 2 tails, we're going to hold those along the edge as we work this first round, okay? So grab your yarn, and where we tied it, go back in to that same stitch, bring up a loop, and then we're just going to work the rounds like we've been doing. Chain 2, 1 and 2, and then go into that next stitch. I'm holding those tails along the edge, and those will weave in as we go along. And I'm just going to work my half double crochets all the way around. It might be a little fiddly at first just because you're trying to hold those tails and you're working your stitches and the yarn is bulky, but just take your time. And so we're just going to keep going with our half double crochet rounds. So keep repeating the half double crochet rounds that we've been doing. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your rounds all the way up. Let me lay this flat so you can see it. You're going to take your rounds all the way up your piece until it's just over the top of your wine bottle. You don't want it to be level with your wine bottle because we're going to put some handles in it. So keep going with your half double crochet rounds until you've just cleared the top little cap part of the wine bottle, and then we're going to add the handles. If we try to do it before we get to the top and clear the top of that wine bottle, when you go to use your handles, you're going to be hitting the wine bottle and it's not going to be as comfortable to carry. So keep going with your purple until you get just to the top of your wine bottle and then stop, okay? So we're going to rejoin in just a minute, and we're going to finish up the half double crochet rounds, and then I'm going to show you how to put some super duper easy handles in your little tote bag next. Okay, so I worked my purple yarn up a ways, and I did it so that when you slip a wine bottle in here, this is level with the top of the wine bottle, okay? Now, the next thing you'll want to do is create your handles. Now, you can grab a little scrap piece of yarn or some stitch markers like I did, but I went ahead and added some stitch markers to mark where I want the handles. Now, you can make your handles large or small. Mine are going to be a little bit on the smaller side just because it's a narrow bag, but I did it so that I placed my markers and I have 3 stitches in between them. So I placed one, there's 3 stitches, and then I placed another, and then I sort of folded it in half and lined them up, and I did the same thing on the other side. So I have a stitch and then 3 stitches in between and then a stitch, and I've clipped those in place. I have 3 stitches also in between these and in between these. So everything is equally distanced from one another so that when we go do the handles, it's marked, okay? And you can just kind of leave those in place for now as you work. And even when you make your stitches, just make sure you use a removable stitch marker so that when you add your stitches, you can take them out later. Okay, so let's go ahead and create some handles. Now, like I said, you can position your markers however you want, but I liked the way those were spaced apart. All right, so what we want to do is we're going to work a half double crochet into that first stitch, just like that, and hop over to the next stitch where our marker is, and we're going to work a half double crochet into that stitch. You can just leave the marker there for now, it's no big deal. And then we're going to skip 3 stitches. We're going to skip 1, 2, 3 stitches, but we're also going to chain 3. So actually, let me zoom in so you can see a little bit better. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3, or however wide or large you want your handles to be. And then you're going to take your hook and hop over those 3 stitches and go into the next one. So you have a stitch marker there, and you're going to work, whoops, a half double crochet into that stitch, okay? So by skipping stitches and making a chain, we've sort of made a little bridge, okay? And as you can see, my handle is small, but it's just enough for me to get 4 fingers in there to tote it around. If you want it to be bigger, skip over more stitches, but for every stitch you skip, you need to add another chain on there as well, okay? So let's continue around. We're gonna add a half double crochet in the next stitch, half double crochet in the next stitch, just moving right around here. You get a little bit more yarn. Half double crochet into the next stitch, okay, because remember I had 3 in between. And now we're at our marker again. And we're going to continue around. Now we're at the next handle area. So I have 3. We're going to chain 3, skip 3. So 1, 2, 3. Bring it all the way over, sort of bridge it over, and then go into that stitch after. So skip 3, chain 3, and work a half double crochet in that next stitch. Just like that. Okay, now let's continue around. Work a half double crochet into the next stitch, and in each stitch to complete, to complete the round. If you happen to have a different number of stitches, that's okay. Just make sure everything when you create your handles is equally distant from one another. Okay, and then I have 1 more stitch I'm going to work into here. And now we're back at the beginning. And so I'm just going to join with a slip stitch to close the round, okay? So at this time you can take your, I'm going to just straighten everything out. At this time you can take your stitch markers out or leave them, it's up to you. It's no big deal either way. And then you can see we have a cute little handle at the top, okay? So let's go ahead and work another round to kind of reinforce our handles. Begin by working a chain 2, and then you're just going to work a half double crochet in each one of your stitches around until you come to your handle, okay? So go ahead and work a half double crochet in each one of those stitches. And now we're at the handle, and we're going to work into the space on this part here. Now we skipped 3 stitches, but we sort of need to replace them. So work 3 half double crochets in that handle space. 1, 2, and 3, just like that. Now our handle is nice and reinforced, okay? Turn your project as you work, And then just keep working. Now this one, this first stitch you come to off the handle might be kind of like off to the side and floppy, but just locate it. You can look at the post down below to locate it. Whoops, let's try that again. There we go. Okay, and then just work some half double crochets around till we get to our next handle. Turning your project as you go. All right, and now, whoops, we got to do a couple more here. Now we're at our handle again. So you're going to work 3 half double crochets, 1, 2, 3 in that handle space, just like that. You can see it looks really nice. It's starting to really look nice here. And then, remember that one off to the side there. Just kind of locate it and work your half double crochets around until you get back to where you began. Just like that, okay? And then we're going to do the same thing we've been doing. You're going to join with a slip stitch to complete the round, okay? So go ahead in that second chain up, whoops, I worked that one last stitch there, almost missed that one, and join with a slip stitch to close the round. All right, so let's look at what we've done here. We have some cute little handles at the top of our tote. All right, the last thing we need to do is just cut the yarn, and we're going to fasten off, and then you can grab your tapestry needle, and you'll want to weave it in the inside part of your bag. So you can sort of go in there, like flip it in like that. And then just go right in there with your bag, or your end rather. And then you can pull it through, and just give it a little snip. And then if you had stitch markers like I did, you can go ahead and take those out. All right, and then what I like to do is just sort of, because this is, you know, nice and bulky, let me zoom out a little bit, just straighten everything out, straighten those handles out, make sure they're nice and stretchy, and your little bag is ready to use. So that is how you crochet the Summer Picnic Wine Tote. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure and click the subscribe button to get all the latest Fiber Flux video updates. Thanks again.